Vox Day. What do you want to talk about? I'm down for anything.
Well, I think one of the things that might be interesting to talk about is the new Milo Yiannopoulos story about the right-wing saboteurs who appear to have infiltrated Rebel Media and Lauren Southern and Tommy Robinson. That was kind of a surprise.
That sounds like a great topic. And the Bears, we all wrote how they rule you for Tommy Robinson when he was in jail to raise money for his wife and his legal fund. And, the whole crowds of British people were singing it and crying as he came out. And then, of course, he uninvited me to sing the song because apparently I find making fun of small hats like Ben Shapiro hilarious. So that's our backstory of Tommy Robinson. And then I found this out, and it makes a lot of sense because I don't trust these traditionalist women that don't have children. I just find that to be such a contradiction.
Oh, I agree. There's a big difference between someone like Faith Goldie or
Faith Goldie.
I'm spacing the name on the twins, the writers. They're all getting married fairly young. They're not focused on becoming YouTube stars and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's when the political thing is part of their lives, it tends to be a little bit more credible. But when you've got someone like Miss Southern, who was intimately involved with apparently at least 4 different well-known conservative writers who were apparently doing a fair amount of her writing for her, that's where you have to sort of draw a line and question whether the person is really psychologically capable of being any sort of opinion leader.
Yeah, that happened with Amy Schumer in the comedy world. Her best work was when Anthony Jeselnik was writing all her jokes. And then when her and Anthony Jeselnik broke up, you realize she was just a sad whale. And I think Lauren Southern's a similar situation. And I could name several more that she's, canoodled with for influence or writing. And that is not a good sign. Like Faith Goldie, I guarantee, is not someone that anyone could have done that with. She's devoted to her husband. She's a good traditional Christian Canadian. And then you have Lauren Southern, who wears like 3-inch shorts and just seems to just get plowed by dudes that write her blogs. And that's not exactly healthy.
No, I mean, it really comes down to whether people are standing up for what they genuinely believe in, because there are women who do that. But there's a big difference between women who find themselves enlisted in the cause and women who are simply trying to find an easy route to fame whoring. And,
right.
It's actually a lot less harmful if a woman makes a career as, some sort of bikini model, or there's that pretty blonde woman who like tries on yoga pants or whatever. That's actually less harmful than people who are fraudulently putting themselves in the position of being opinion leaders when they aren't even necessarily capable of writing their own opinions. And I think that you have to be deeply suspicious of anyone who blows up quickly. Someone like a Candace Owens.
Exactly.
I mean, she is so obviously a grifter. It astonishes me that anyone takes her seriously.
Yeah, and you're 100% right on the misrepresentation thing, because when I've called out some gentlemen for being potentially gay guys, and people are like, what's your problem with gay guys? I'm like, I'm friends with Nick Swartzen, who's gay, but he doesn't pretend to not be gay and pretend to be something he isn't to manipulate people. And it's like that whole misrepresentation, that false face is so harmful because, like the Joe Rogans of the world, the Jordan Petersons of the world, these people pulling good men down this road that away from nationalism, away from family, away from authentic Christianity, is genuinely wicked versus just somebody that is hedonistic who doesn't, misrepresent themselves. And so I think we're seeing more and more of these faces. This is one question I have for you, though. It's like, why would anyone want, like telling the truth is so we get so much backlash to the point where me and you are on the phone like every day, like, all right, so we can move the servers. You know, like our life is not easy. Why would they want this life of constant conflict and the majority of the world hating us for, I don't know. I just don't know what the payoff is. They should just work for like Nabisco.
Well, we're not women. So
I got something to tell you, Vox.
Of...
I got something to tell you. All right, sorry, go on. It's time for me to come clean.
Hey, if you're capable of acting convincingly and you're able to convince people that you're a 5'6" Chinese scientist.
I can't wait to tell people what we're up to.
Nobody has any idea what we're talking about. I love it. Anyhow, trust me, guys, especially to the Bears, we cannot wait to tell you about this stuff because you're literally going to lose it. You're absolutely going to lose it. But anyhow, but yeah, I think that you could pull it off. I mean, maybe a 5'8" bikini model. You might have to lose the beard, but
See, a true actor can keep the beard and still be a 5'8" Asian bikini model.
Well, I'm not an actor, so I'll take your word for it. But the key thing is that we don't get 1/10 the benefits that a woman who is doing exactly the same thing does,
or a black woman.
That's just that's like 100 times,
right?
It's really astonishing. Like for me, it was kind of funny how my wife, when she first went on Twitter, I mean, boom, like James Woods is retweeting her, and all these people are like, messaging her and that sort of thing. It's kind of like, I bet if I had written my columns on WorldNet Daily with your picture at the top of them, we would have had an offer for a TV show from Fox within 6 months.
Yeah, Dennis Prager would have sent a jet. Well, the one thing that I relate to in that scenario is when I was first coming out of Hollywood, all of these conservatives almost treated me with almost half of what a woman would get, where it's like the fact that I had done Leno and Fallon and Ben and Sandler movies and stuff, they were almost pursuing me a little more aggressively than they would just someone who is smarter and more capable. And then that wore off as Hollywood, called me a Nazi.